Welcome, I'm Brandon. I'm a physique guide, and I want to help you earn and sustain your dream body. There's 4 pieces of free education that I want to go over with you today. Let's get 3 of them out of the way right now. So the first one is the 4 secret weapons against food peer pressure. Now, one option you have with peer pressure is to eat and drink like everyone else around you. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. But what if self-care looks different for you than it does for them? Well, here's weapon number 1, deflect. If at a gathering you're asked about why you are or aren't consuming certain things, say something short like, building my body brings me joy. Eating this way is helping me do that. Take a moment to think about the answer that would make the most sense for you. Then, just like Wonder Woman pictured here, deflect. Turn it right back onto the other person. Say to them, so I want to hear more about you. You can ask them about their relationship, their job, an upcoming trip. In other words, keep it short and sweet and then turn it right back onto them. Let's move right along to the second weapon, which is procrastination. And this works especially well if you're being pressured to eat food that you don't want to eat. You could say, eating more would just put me over the edge right now. May I take some home with me though? I can't wait to enjoy it once my stomach has recovered. Weapon number 3, cite your doctor. You could say, that looks delicious. My doctor suggested staying away from it, but I'm enjoying these other options on the table. Now, you may be thinking that you can't realistically pull off a comment like that. But consider this. I'm in my 30s, I'm in great shape, and I have high blood pressure. It's genetic. So there's my real reason for being careful. You could have one too. And if you keep getting pressed by this person, you can make a jokey comment about the pressure. Like, damn girl, you want my social security number too? Come on, I'm having a great time with you. I just want to enjoy your company. That's not too much to ask, right? You know, I'll give you the 4th secret weapon against food peer pressure if all of these other methods have failed you. You can always just assert yourself. You know, there's passive communication where you let the other person step on you, and I've been there. And then there's aggressive communication where you get aggressive and step on the other person. And then in the middle, there's assertive, the ideal way of communicating. Don't be afraid to become assertive because it's different than becoming aggressive. I'll give you a specific example of how I applied this recently. So I was at a friend's retirement party and he insisted that I eat, eat, eat. The 3rd time he did this, I kept a calm smile and without raising my voice, I put my foot down. I said, I promise you, I'll help myself to all the food I want when I'm ready. Thank you for your generosity. So those are your 4 secret weapons against food peer pressure. You've got deflect, procrastinate, cite your doc, and assert. And never underestimate the effectiveness of blending in humor to take the edge off. Now, on to the second piece of education today. There's a popular progress tracking tool misleading us all. What's its $2 fix? Well, the culprit is the scale. It is useful, but taken alone, it can totally mislead you. Let me show you what I'm referring to. So here's a perfect example. This is a side-by-side image of me comparing 2017 on the left to 2021 on the right. I weighed about 10 pounds more on the left, but my total body composition improved by about 20 pounds between these 2 photos. Why? Because I lost fat and added muscle. If I was just paying attention to the scale, I would have grossly misunderstood my own progress. And that in turn could affect my morale, my interpretation of future results, and more. So what's the $2 solution here? A Taylor's tape measure. Use it to start tracking your golden ratio. Here's what that is and how to find it. To get the most out of this, I want you to pop open a new document or file or note on your device right now. Title this e-journal, DreamBody with Brandon. Write down the following homework assignment. You can complete the assignment after this call. First, you'll want to purchase your tape measure from CVS or Dwayne Reed or Rite Aid. Second, once you get that tape measure, you're going to want to measure and record the circumference of your shoulders and then your waist, okay? It's just 2 body parts, simple. Third, you'll divide your waist measurement by your shoulder measurement. Start with the small number and divide it by the big. Got that? You'll write that number down. That number will almost certainly be between 0.6 and 0.85. That's your golden ratio. Then as time goes on, here's the next part of the assignment. Fourth, just continue tracking both your shoulder and waist measurements. You can do this anywhere from once a week to every 6 weeks. And as you gather more sets of data, of course, you're going to want to calculate your golden ratio each time. So to review, you're going to gather your shoulder and waist measurement. Divide the small number by the big one. Write it down and repeat that several times in the coming weeks and months. Now, I'm just going to talk to you. You don't have to write this next part down. If that number that you're calculating begins to go down, you're making awesome progress. What that means is that the V shape of your torso is enhancing. The lower that number gets, the closer it gets to 0.6, the better. Your appearance is growing more jacked. The golden ratio is golden for tracking your progress, whether or not you've got a scale. I use this ratio for tracking my own results as well as my clients. Now, if this sounds overwhelming, breathe. I've been where you've been. If you think, this won't work for me, or this guy's going to make me feel less than, I've been where you've been. You're not alone. In fact, I identify with your insecurity so much that it's the reason why I'm several years behind with my own physique development. I let my fear keep me from making the changes I craved. I don't want you to make the same mistakes I did. How can you avoid doing that? Just stay on this call. Let's move on to the third piece of education today. What mistake sinks 80% of would-be bodybuilders, and how do you avoid it? Well, the mistake is this: viewing your life priorities as conflicting with your bodybuilding. Remember the DreamBody journal I introduced you to a minute ago? It's time to use it right now. And for this assignment, you're going to be completing it while we are on this call. I want you to write down your top 3 life priorities. They can be specific, like make $66,000 this year, or they can be simple, like my partner. I'm not asking what other people think your priorities should be. I am asking what you constantly daydream about. Don't overthink this because we're going to move on in moments. Just jot down your top 3 priorities in your DreamBody journal. Wrote all 3 down? Great work. Did you list anything about realizing dreams, like starting a business or family, buying a home, or taking up a long-delayed art project? This requires self-belief, commitment, and a plan. Bodybuilding trains you to develop those. Not only that, bodybuilding progress gives you confidence. You're going to need that to realize any dream. On your list, did you list anything about relationships? Well, we can't give from an empty cup. The more relaxed, proud, and happy we are, the more of that we can spread around to those we care about, whether that's via activism or family, you name it. Relaxation, pride, and joy are physiological and psychological effects of successful bodybuilding. And this is the last one on your list. Did you list anything about money? Well, earning and keeping and growing money forces you to develop strategy, a willingness to delay your gratification, and a willingness to ask for outside help. In short, it's the marathon over the sprint. I can think of few life processes that force you to get comfortable with this groove more than bodybuilding, because bodybuilding gives you a blueprint, a template for the imperfect but consistent, long, slow, rewarding build. Whether it's money, relationships, or realizing dreams, you can only tackle a goal with the power at your disposal. That's why earning your dream body truly helps you change for good. Look at your top 3 life goals and ask yourself this: if you're 10 pounds more jacked 1 year from now, would you be closer to your first goal? Use a scale from 0 to 10. 0 means that a better physique would not get you closer to reaching your first life goal. 10 means that a better physique would really help you reach your first goal. Go ahead, give your first goal a number. And take the next few seconds to do the same thing with your second and third goals. You're simply noting whether there's a correlation between your life goals and your dream body. Okay. Now add up the scores you gave to each of your 3 goals. Whatever your sum is, that's how many reasons you now have to change your body in order to change for good in your life. Stay on this call to learn how my program DreamBody will help you do that. Let's talk about what makes DreamBody unlike any other customized physique enhancement program. When you, a bodybuilding student, hire a professional, you rent their help. You ultimately lose access to all that stuff that you work so hard on unless you perpetually keep paying. Gym memberships, training sessions, definitely online coaching. Whatever it is you're considering, you got to constantly re-up just to keep access. Now, I'm not vilifying this model. I'm just showing you there's more than one way of receiving your help. Think about that for just a moment. We can compare renting versus owning your fitness program to renting versus owning your home. With a home, renting is a great way to go short term, right? It's easier to get into, you can go month to month, but you're not growing your wealth. With home ownership, you'll not only grow your wealth, you're guaranteeing yourself a place to live long term. DreamBody is the home ownership of fitness programs. Owning DreamBody is like owning a home with much less hassle and more options. Wow, pretty dang good. And before we go further, let me just quickly unpack the difference between personal training and online guidance. When people approach me for help, I ask what their goals are. Sometimes they respond, Brandon, you're the goal. Well, here's the thing. You need to know something. I am not a product of personal training. I am, however, a product of online guidance. The two pro bodybuilders who've helped me over the last 14 years have done so exclusively over the internet. One of them I've never even met. So, do you want to look like me? Then doesn't it make sense to do what I've done? I want you to just think about that for a second, please. That's where DreamBody comes in. It's my long-term online program. You know, online coaching is becoming the mobile money of fitness, while in-person help is the cash of fitness. Now, here's the deal. We can use both, but one helps us expand our life, while the other would dramatically limit us if we were to depend exclusively on it. Do you see what I'm saying? Let's go just a little deeper. A trainer who's both excellent and really gets you is not a dime a dozen. If you're lucky, you can find one near you. And if you can't, then do you settle? And whether or not you've got a trainer you know, like, and trust, you're dealing with many limitations involved in personal training. If you have an audition or a meeting that runs over and you can't make your training session, what happens to your investment? If your trainer's busy, and good trainers sometimes are, it's going to be difficult to schedule a makeup session if that's even an option. And let's say you come in before work in the mornings to prevent that issue. Smart. Your trainer is a human. They might move, they might get injured, they will go on trips, take breaks from working, and or need to shift their own schedules to accommodate the evolving needs of their business. And when one or more of those things happen, not if, but when, what will happen to your routine? Your trainer might refer you to another trainer, but that new person might not be the right fit, either in terms of schedule or personality or both. And if it is a fit, amazing. But even then, whether you're lucky enough to keep your original trainer or you're now working with someone new, what happens when your life becomes erratic? What happens when you're the one whose schedule or needs change? Meanwhile, how much is all of this costing you? Long-term, consistent personal training from a qualified professional is a very big investment with a limited amount of security. Think about that for a second. Here is what you own in perpetuity when you invest in the security of DreamBody. Workout programs, customized workout guidance, nutrition formulas, lifestyle curriculum, and much more. Hopefully you've already been on my website, because that's where my marketing campaign is, and it contains all the details for DreamBody. So we're not going to spend time going into detail here. We're just going to do a flyover to remind you. So first, you get my premium digital workout program automatically available on your smartphone. 9 distinct phases, each lasting 6 weeks. These workouts are designed for overly crowded gyms, by the way. If you're traveling or don't have gym access, you're covered with an additional on-demand program. You will build muscle and lean out annually with fewer injuries if you let me help you also fix how and how much you eat. How will you do that, Brandon? Well, I'll do that by having you follow the second feature in DreamBody, Physique Fundamentals. This is your easy education and formulas to perfect your calories and nutrients, de-dramatize food logging, food shopping, and food prep, lift weights smarter and safer, streamline your recovery, your supplements, and your self-talk, plus much more. All on video, all yours on demand to own. Hey, would you also like private workout guidance? Well, you get it permanently. What personal trainer or other online program offers that? Think about that for a second. This third feature in DreamBody that I'm referring to right now is Workout Concierge. If you need help with your lifting form, send me clips. If you need any kind of workout guidance, ask me questions. You'll get my personalized feedback on demand. Everything you upload into your workout app will be visible to me if you want it to be. And this service replenishes annually at no additional cost to you. Typically, one of the biggest reasons people are hesitant about online guidance is that they want someone to coach them on their form, and they should. Workout Concierge solves for this. It's your answer to personal training. In DreamBody, you can take as many videos of yourself lifting as you want and send them all to me for critique. I notice more details than most people. I can pick up details in a video that other people might not even pick up in person. This was what I built the first 4 years of my career on, when I generated a gross total of nearly $1 million in personal training sales at Equinox. Now, I don't provide that number to be gross. I just provide it to establish credibility. My attention to detail with my clients' lifting form was the thing that let me be competitive with New York City's most elite personal trainers who had sports physiology degrees and anatomy backgrounds and all this stuff that I did not have. Now, the one thing that Workout Concierge, this third feature in DreamBody, cannot replace a personal trainer on is accountability, which is why DreamBody is not for you if you don't already have sustainable motivation. Just like how cash can come in handier than credit in certain places, like where there's no electricity or internet, DreamBody is not for you if you don't have your own electricity, your own internet, I guess both literally and figuratively. So, do you have electricity? If you do, then DreamBody provides everything else. And go from stalled self-doubter to empowered stud with this bonus feature. It's nutrition prescription. This year, it's complimentary for your first 12 months. There's no obligation to continue. You'll get my expert feedback on your progress photos and measurements, get my advice on whether to prioritize muscle gain or fat loss, get my private oversight on your nutrition intake and habits. You'll be given the option to complete 5 straightforward behaviors, comply with these behaviors at least 87% of the time, and I guarantee you'll build and or lean your physique by 10 pounds by the end of your first year. If you hold up your end of the bargain but don't get the results I'm promising, I'll privately coach you for free until you do get the results. What if DreamBody doesn't meet my expectations? You might be wondering. Well, this brings me to the second guarantee I make. It's my love it or leave it guarantee. If you complete every workout on its scheduled day for the first 2 weeks, and any component of DreamBody fails to meet your expectations, email me or message me in your workout app. I'll immediately apply a 100% refund. When it comes to your physique, here's what you have to ask yourself. What is it costing you to not have your dream body? I'm going to say it one more time. What is it costing you to not have your dream body? Let's quantify this, actually. Please go back to that number you came up with earlier. Remember when you wrote down your top 3 goals and we did that scale of 0 to 10? What was your total sum? Let's say it was 5. Remember, these are your ultimate life goals, your biggest aspirations and dreams. And this number reflects how much closer you'll be to those goals if you earn your dream body. You came up with this number, not me. So if your sum was a 5, let's say, do you think that means your dream body is over the next several years worth $5,000 to you? If your number was 10, let's say, do you think that means your dream body is worth over the next several years $10,000 to you? Personally, I've already invested 10 grand with my current coach, and it's money incredibly well spent. But DreamBody, my program, costs a fraction of that. Actually, it costs less than a third of that. In fact, DreamBody costs less than 9 months of renting, then forfeiting help from another pro of my level. So which sounds better? 9 months of guidance that you will lose access to, or long-term guidance that you own? DreamBody's lifetime investment is $2,999. Or if you prefer, 5 payments of $699. DreamBody doesn't make the most sense for you if you want spot treatment and or a couple training sessions. But are you looking for a permanent up level or overhaul? If so, there's few products on the global fitness market that rival the resources DreamBody provides you. Plus, remember, for your first 12 months, you're getting a complimentary upgrade to nutrition prescription. That's an additional $2,388 value, yours free. Just let that sink in for a second. So right now I'm putting up on the screen the options for your payment. These are your QR codes that you can access right now to invest in DreamBody. All right, now that you have all that info, I want to give you a minute just to let it bake and process in your mind if you need that time. I want to close this session out with the 4th and final piece of education today, and it has to do with solidifying your motivation to change for good. I call it your Pines moment. It's a moment in life that you can look back on and say, my life was one way before that happened and different after. My Pines moment was July 4th, 2013. You know, earlier I mentioned how I grossed nearly $1 million in fitness sales revenue during my first few years at Equinox. Most of that money was going to the company, not me. You know, I was doing very well at my job, but the cost of living in New York City made things nearly untenable. Nonetheless, I had to have a room and a share house on Fire Island that summer. As Tim Gunn says, I made it work without going into debt. It actually cost a little more than DreamBody does today. It brought me tremendous pride, and photos from that summer still hang in my bathroom a decade later across the continent here in Los Angeles. And if it wasn't for having that room that summer, I wouldn't have met a private client who began supplying a much needed source of supplemental income. So I had to spend money to make money, and I made a lot more of it than I spent. Do you see how this applies to you? And when I broke my leg in early 2014 and couldn't work for 9 weeks, I wrote the first draft of the story, which has now turned into my trilogy. A trilogy revolving around true events that transpired in Fire Island on July 4th, 2013, during a celebration called Invasion of the Pines, one of the happiest days of my life. It's shaped me as a human, inspired these gorgeous novels, and given me the sense of financial and personal confidence to leave everything I've known and move across North America alone in the midst of a global pandemic with no work officially lined up on the other end, simply because it was a long time goal that I'd kept putting off. And it all started because I let myself have something back in 2013 that I knew in my heart would change me for good. My life was one way before July 4th, 2013. And by the time sunset hit on that day, my life had changed for good. It would also ultimately give me the courage to change my body. And because I'm selling a program to you that is about your body, I'm going to show you my results right now. So now I want to ask you something. Have you reached your Pines moment? If so, I invite you to come into DreamBody. I know that if you do the work, it will change you for good. We've just scratched the surface in this quick webinar. All the real juice of DreamBody is already on my website in my step-by-step marketing campaign. That's at brandonhayward.com/DreamBody. If you want more time to consider the program and you haven't already spent time going through my campaign, get your buns over there. You'll get to see and hear from clients, and you'll get so many details about the program offerings, including more answers to frequent questions. Remember, you are guaranteed to build and or lean your physique by 10 whole pounds in just 1 year when you come into DreamBody. Look below this video to discover additional information on how you can get the most out of DreamBody. Well, that does it for now. Thank you for your attention. And I don't want you to forget how incredibly valuable you are. Thank you and stay safe.